Hi, welcome back to the land of Kakiak, my homeschool room. I'm Laurel. I am educating 3 boys here using the Robinson curriculum as the base of our education. I'm excited. This is my first video that I am directly answering a request left for a video in the comment section on a previous video. I'm pretty psyched about it. So this is my 5th grade language arts curriculum. Okay, if you've been following along the channel, you know I've been working my way through the language arts sequence. So this is of my own making. I've built a sequence from like pre-K through like 6th grade so far. And the goal here is to build a bridge curriculum to the RC method of an essay a day, right? I will go over what I have listed here for 5th grade, what I had my 5th grader do, and I'll just show you everything and some examples of his work. So first of all, they should be independent reading by this age, so they'll probably be reading the RC book list. So first, the book notes and summary guide, and it looks like this. And this is something I made. It's in my TPT store. I'll link it down below if anyone's interested in it. But it's got some instructions here. But basically what they're doing is reading a book, and I've got these pages for chapter notes. And you just fold it in half and use it as a bookmark. Right? And so then after every chapter, you just jot down some, quick notes on it. Of course we talked about what a summary was. We did have to talk a little bit about, and I think a really common thing that students do is when they summarize, they give too much detail, right? So like look how long this chapter 8 was. The summary was like this long. A little long. So like you don't have to put every detail, just the highlights, just maybe introducing new characters that were important, right? But you don't need to tell me about every little extra character, right? It's not pertinent to really like moving the story along, unless you think that maybe you have a prediction, maybe stick that in there. But then when they're done with the book and they've done all that, they look through their notes and they fill out a book information page. Okay, at the beginning, I was like checking these to make sure he wasn't missing things out. Sometimes he didn't know what the setting was. And so sometimes we would talk about like, well, did you miss it? Sometimes we did a little bit of research. And I'm not above Googling these books and seeing if we can find out more information sometimes on them. But then, so off of their book information page, then they go to their summary page. So I also think this is good oral speaking, like public speaking practice, to have them give an oral report based on this. They can use it as a guide. And I know that my oldest, he does not like talking, even in front of just me, his mom, like in our little schoolroom. I think it's the place to be for our kids. But like in public school, like you can't get away from speaking in front of people you don't know. Your teacher's always telling you to speak up. You're getting called on. You're on the spot. So like these little more introverted kids, they get to just completely escape that, right? Which I would have loved. I would have loved to have been homeschooled as a kid because I hated speaking in front of people, which is funny because like now I'm putting myself on the internet. Anyways, I overcame that fear though, right? I overcame it because I just kept having to do it, whether I wanted to or not. So I do like require some built-in uncomfortable assignments for my homeschooled students so that they can build up some of those skills that are a little harder to come by at home, like speaking in front of a group, being asked to speak up. He hates it when I tell him to speak up. I'm like, I can't hear you. I'm old. I'm deaf. Mom's old. I can't hear. Right? Okay, so reading their books, book notes and summary guides, and then I I grade it, so it gives me something to record. Especially it's helpful if you live in a state that requires like grades or some kind of like point recording. So I give 5 points for the book notes being complete, 5 points for the book information page, and 5 points for the summary. Okay, so then we could do writing. I want them to be writing at the paragraph level at this age by 5th grade. If they're not, then we need to do some work. So how to write an awesome paragraph. I bought this. And the name of the company is Happy Frog Writing Resources. And I think what the website said about them is that they are specifically making writing resources. I think they make some math ones too for kids maybe on the spectrum or with ADHD. And they've really simplified it. So look at that page compared to, but you know, they've got all types of different fonts, pictures, different formatting. Like there's just more going on. They have like little extras at the bottom. Like I know that my son will miss the extras. Like he'll not see it at all, right? So this is nice. It's really predictable. It's like always the same format. It's all the same font. The only difference is that, you know, the title is bigger and bold. Just much more predictable and much less distracting. Like very doable. So I like these. I bought a couple of their other ones too. I ended up working on this one last year just because I thought that my son in the 5th grade, he had some gaps and I was trying to fill in. So I thought he needed some help, not just at the paragraph level, but I thought he needed some help at the sentence level as well. And this book covers sentences and paragraphs. So I went with this one. And it worked really well. We went all the way through the book. I really liked it with him. A lot of the stuff he could do on his own without much help from me. But when we would get to these pages, when they're introducing the new concept, I would want to like go over those pages with him to make sure he understood. Sometimes we do a couple little examples together and then just let him do a couple days worth of activities. And then I would just like check him, you know, give him some feedback. So that was a winning combination. It was really helpful. But I would say that there was not enough work for him to master these concepts. So we went all the way through it, and I was like, I don't feel like we're ready to go on to writing 5-paragraph essays now. You know, he needs more work at the paragraph level. This was a good start. So what I did was I just made, of course, a weekly packet. Again, this is in my TPT store if you're interested in it. And what I did was I had him go back. I gave him a paragraph checklist. He could go back and sometimes, like, you can have him redo all the concepts in this book again, but they could like review it in here, the skill, and then use the writing packet. And that's what I had him do. Or if you just felt like there were a couple topics that needed a little bit more help, you could just target those. But, you know, this packet walks them through those concepts again. And this was like one of my favorite ones. This page was the day that you gave them a writing prompt, and I gave some writing prompts with the packets. But you know, you could use any writing prompt. But I would have them brainstorm, and then they could doodle. And a lot of times I noticed that my son would doodle first. So like one of the prompts was he was going to write about a trip that he took. Actually with my dad, with his opa. They drove across the country, right? So before he didn't brainstorm and start writing things, he drew it. He drew a picture representation of their journey. He drew the truck. They were in there. He drew McDonald's because he loves McDonald's. You know, he drew mountains that he saw. I think he drew like Hoover Dam. Anyways, So it's like he drew it first and then he wrote from what he saw. It was really interesting how he processed that. And so he was writing from what he saw, but he saw what he saw in his mind first. So anyways, it walks them through until they get to, the last day, of course. They're going to write the final draft on day 6 and turn it in. Whole video on my McGuffey's spelling packets and methodology, and I have an extra video on extra games we play. I actually think spelling is like powerful, really powerful. So the packets, again, in my TPT store, my spelling hangman game. I use them with the McGuffey Eclectic Spelling Book. Here's our hangman game. Right? We go over syllable types. Like, this stuff is it's just really helpful. It really improves their writing. Just like digging in and studying these little details. Okay, and then, so we've done reading, writing, spelling, and vocabulary. So I've already I did a whole video on vocabulary. I'll link that below as well if you haven't seen that one. But I'll just show you here what we use. These 2 resources. Okay, so the Red Hot Root Words book, there's 2 of them, 1 and 2, and Latin Root Words packet. So this is a packet I made, and I use it with this. I use them both together, and this is in my store as well. I'll link everything here today. So let's see. They're reading. They're taking notes and writing summaries. They are going over writing fabulous sentences and paragraphs. They are spelling, and they are doing vocabulary. That's a pretty full and rich language arts curriculum, I have to say. So, and where are we going? Like, look ahead to 6th grade. We're going to continue on with the book notes and summary guide. We're going to move into 5-paragraph essays once you feel that they're mastered the paragraph writing level, and then how to edit and revise your essay, and how to write a book report, right? And I may also cover doing research projects. I have resources for all those things. And then spelling, I have one more. I think I have 6th grade. My spelling program goes up through 6th grade. And then I'll reconsider if I want to keep going with the McGuffey words, or if we want to just do more vocabulary. I'm not totally sure yet. And then we're continuing on with the Red Hot Root Words book too. So you can see how it's leading into what I want to be doing the next year as well. Okay. If you have any questions about anything I talked about today, leave me a comment down below. If you're curious about how to build your own bridge curriculum, I would recommend just taking a look at mine. You don't have to use my resources that I picked, but I think I've got I think I've built a good scaffolding of what skills we're wanting, and then you just can pick the resources that match. But it's a good place to start, just to look. If you don't be overwhelmed, don't think you have to come up with the entire sequence at once. That's why I wanted to share it with people, because I did it took a lot of work to come up with this. But don't be overwhelmed. You only have to provide really what you need this week, right? And you can rely on something like this, week to week, until you come up, if you want to go something in a different direction. You know what I mean? Wait till you have time and the mental energy, especially if you're just making the shift to homeschooling. If you're like me and you never thought you would homeschool ever, and it's a shock to your system, there's so much decision fatigue that can set in, When are you guys going to start school? How long is it going to be? What kind of philosophy do you have? Where are you going to homeschool? What, materials do I need? I mean, the list is endless. And I really think that the Robinson curriculum is the perfect home for our family. It gave me enough, but not too much. And the breathing room, so I had a goal but I could chart my own way there, what would work for me and my kids without being overly restricted or tied to a curriculum, right? Let me know your thoughts, let me know your questions, any requests of what you want to see next, and I'll talk to you next time.